Hey guys, I want to show you how I made this rack for the back of my travel trailer. My dad had one on the back of his years ago. He hauled wood, bikes, spare tire, all kind of stuff, and I want to do the same for this. Not that heavy of stuff, but I do want to get some extra storage by using this rack. Now I've also bought a deck box which I'm going to mount to it, but for the meantime I'm going to show you how I made the rack. It's expanded metal, angle iron, and 2-inch square tubing. The 2-inch square tubing goes into the receivers. Now I'm using 2 receivers, both rated at 500 pounds each, so I'm guessing this thing's rated at 1,000. I'm never going to overload this, and I'm also not going to overload the bumper. I don't know what the bumper's rated at, but the stuff I'm going to put on this is more lightweight stuff. The box itself weighs 44 pounds. This rack, I know it weighs a little bit, but I'm not going to put a lot of heavy stuff on it, but I just want to get some extra storage. So I'm going to show you how I made the rack. I'll show you the receivers I'm using to attach the rack, and I'll also show you how the bumper is welded to the frame. Check it out. Thanks to my father-in-law, who has a welder, he's retired, and he's always willing to help, we were able to get this project going. First, we had to cut all the angle iron for length, cut the ends on 45s, and then clamp everything together to make the frame. At that point, my father-in-law was able to make a couple spot welds so that we could then take some measurements and make sure everything was square. Once we confirmed the frame was square, it was time to continue welding and weld up all of the corners. Once we had the frame welded up, it was time to spot weld the expanded metal into place. Then we were able to turn over the rack and decide where we wanted to put the 2-inch square tubing. We positioned the tubing so that it set in from the end of the rack 11 inches on each side. This allowed me to attach the receivers to the strongest points of the bumper, which is right up against the frame. And that's me welding for the first time at age 50. I really liked it, and I can see a lot more projects in my future, but my next big purchase will probably be a MIG welder. I also learned while welding, even an ugly weld can look a little better with a little grinding. After the rack was made, it was time to protect it with a good coat of paint. First, I coated it with a good coat of Rust-Oleum primer. I then used Rust-Oleum gloss protective enamel to paint the rack. I found a huge 24-ounce can of black spray paint in the Rust-Oleum gloss protective enamel. It has a turbo spray system for 4 times faster coverage for larger projects. So when you're spray painting expanded metal, I highly recommend a spray paint like this. It covers really fast. The only thing is, you don't want to be downwind. It puts out a lot of paint. All right, so I want to show you how the bumper is attached to the frame. And if you can see here, the frame is actually notched out. I don't know if you can see that. The frame's actually notched out, and the bumper sits on the frame. And it's welded there at the bottom. It's welded inside and across the top here. So it's not only welded to the frame, but it's resting on the frame there. All right, these are the receivers that I bought. I bought 2 identical ones, and it says here, do not exceed manufacturer's bumper rating or 500 pounds. I know I'm not going to overload this thing because everything I'm going to put on it is chairs, beach toys, things like that, but I'm not going to haul heavy stuff. So these things are attached with the U-bolts here. I suggest putting it on top. I made this thing 2.5 feet by 7 feet. So it sets in 6 inches on each side. It's 2.5 feet out. So at 2.5 feet out, if it's on the bottom, if it's mounted to the bottom, you're going to be so low out here that you're going to scrape, no doubt. Could cause some damage. So I definitely recommend putting it on top of the bumper. So these are the hitch pins I'm going to use. Both came from Harbor Freight, and they're Hallmaster. I've already taken this out of the package. This is going on one side. The locking hitch pin will go on the other side. Also, I bought these from Harbor Freight, reflective tape, and you're sticking out another 2.5 feet. So I wanted something reflecting. You know, if somebody's waiting to pull out, waiting on you to go by to pull out, I want them to see that extra bit sticking out there. And I'm probably going to end up adding a light across here somewhere. I'm not sure. I'm going to utilize these. I've got some things I want to mount, like a flagpole, a big flagpole. I may make a receiver here, or use this as a receiver, and then I have one over here. but I'm not sure if I'll use that for the flagpole. I don't know if I'll use it for our grill. Who knows? But I'll be coming up with something to add to this thing. All right guys, that's it. I just wanted to show you how I made this rack from my travel trailer. I'm not recommending you do this for yourself. I'm just wanting to give you some ideas, some things to think about, and some different things to look at on your travel trailer, your fifth wheel. If you decide to go this route, I would suggest contacting your manufacturer and ask them for their opinion, but it is a handy thing to have, and I think I'm going to be completely happy with it. If it fails on me, I'll let you know that too. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day.